Fantastic. At NTT, we believe innovation is only possible when everything is connected. We also believe that the impact is possible when everything is connected. What we have heard since morning, almost all GBS leaders have the same challenge. How do we move from phase one, cost and efficiency, to an outcome? Now, the outcome could be business goals. The outcome could be sustainability that we heard this morning. But it's all about shifting, moving, transitioning the existing GBS model to an outcome-based model. Now, I know many of you are GBS leaders here. I have a question for you, and then we'll get to my script. I have just one question. If this industry, the GBS, has to move from cost and efficiency to an outcome, what do you think? How many years will it take? Any guess? Some numbers? Couple of years? 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? What is it? Any guess? Any number? 5 years? 4 years? 6 months? Wow. Anyone decide? Any answers? I have been talking to most of the CIOs and the GBS leaders since I came into this role. And pretty much most of the leaders have said it'll take anywhere between 3 and 5 years. Moving a GBS from cost and efficiency to an outcome. So what I'm going to share with you today, my learnings, my playbook of how NTT, we were able to deliver an outcome-based GBS in less than 1 year. Okay, let's start with what is NTT. We are NTT. We own and operate the world's largest IP backbone. We are NTT. We own and operate the world's second largest data center. And if you look at the stats, pretty much 65% of the Fortune 500 clients are NTT clients. As luck may have it, even probability, everything that you're typing today, texting today, the carrier will be NTT and will be stored somewhere in the data center of NTT. That's NTT. So as a company, we operate in more than 200 countries. We have over 36,000 diverse people across the world. And we run about $9.5 billion of revenue. So when I'm talking to you about GBS and the transformation, it's the transformation of this company that's spread across or supporting clients across 200 countries in the world. What do we do for our clients? Again, the same story. With our clients, we still believe that innovation is only possible when everything is connected. Every day, we are having a new connection, a new insight, a new experience, or a new outcome. NTT has its solutions and services that helps our clients to build this digital infrastructure. We help our clients to improve their experience with their clients, have a positive impact on the community and society. Moving on, my next question. One more question. I think most of you will have the answers, but let me ask the question. What do you think is the largest watched sports in the world? Football? Got it. Anything else? So we have quite a few answers here. The single largest watched sporting event of the world is cycling. with a viewership of over 3.5 billion viewers. It is run over 21 stages, 2,200 miles, and over 23 different days. At NTT, we are the technology providers for Tour de France since the time ASO came back and asked, please digitize the experience for us. So what I'll try and do is to bring home, or to bring to life our solutions and services. I'll pick up one or double click on one of these go-to-market solutions, which is our sports practice. I'll try and show you what we have done with Tour de France. With Tour de France, if you really look at it, they started off analog. On a board, you write those, you monitor it, you start writing it. That's the way it started off in 2015. Today, what we have done, we have interconnected the riders, the team, the race, the broadcasters, and most importantly, the fans. We've literally connected everything over the last couple of years. What's the result? That's the experience that you're seeing today. Truly creating a connected experience. Truly creating a fan's experience that is next to none. Literally helping the drivers, the team, the cycle drivers, everyone else to improve their performance. And you can see here, we've gone about deploying the technology on bikes, on crowds, on assets, on security, on caravans, literally everywhere. So we collect a lot of data, and that data is then sent onto a chopper on the top, you can see there. That goes to a data center, and from that data center, the models are created and then broadcast across the world. One example to show you the solutions and services that we have deployed in the market. Moving on, let's get to the transformation that I want to talk to. Over the last couple of years, we are consolidating, or we are integrating 31 different companies into one big company. And the CEO came back and said, look, we have a big and bold ambition. We need to be digital by 2023 because we need to get fit, be innovative, and drive growth. Simple three keywords. So digital by 2023 became the slogan, and that was the rallying cry across the company. From that rallying cry, we said, look, where do we start? So that was the what. Now the question is, how do we translate that what into actionable execution insights? Step one, we said, yep, fine, we will get going through it. But we picked up 3 strong projects. We said, if we really have to be digital by 2023, 3 pillars. 1, modernize our platforms, modernize our technology so that we can move from complexity to simplicity. That's pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 is to get to a next-gen GBS where we are able to move from a hub-and-spoke model to a completely data-enabled model. And 3 was to help our clients operate and have a different experience through a single data layer. So we embarked on those 3 flagship projects that will help us to drive the digital by 2023. The top 3 priorities that we picked up, number 1, we had different capabilities across all the divisions, all the functions, all the companies. We said, let's get to one single taxonomy of what is the business capability model that links the business strategy to execution, that translates and operationalizes almost all the business strategy into execution. Step 1, created a common taxonomy across 21 business capabilities that probably all the functions can use and reuse, and the language becomes the same between the technology team and the business team. And why do I say that? Because I think, again, let me put a metaphor here. In most of the companies, IT and GBS is an island. They are not talking to the mainland. You need to create a bridge by which the IT and GBS can connect to the mainland, the business. And the only way we could connect to the mainland was using business capability. So that's number one, 21 business capabilities defined. Number two, we said, look, almost all the companies have their own operating model. How do we now harmonize and get a single operating model that will help all the 31 companies to consume that operating model? We defined a blueprint saying that we have to move from complexity to simplicity. We have to make it more frictionless. And the easiest path that we found was not to modernize all the technology platforms, was to take the whole data and create a data exchange model. So we moved from a hub and spoke model to a data exchange model by which we were now able to have users, employees, clients, vendors access NTT from anywhere, anytime in a secure way. Security is a big one for us at NTT. Third, as a capability, everything I spoke about interconnected. I spoke about innovation. I spoke about impact. It's only possible if you have a great data platform. Big journey again, last year we started of creating a master data, making sure that we have a common chart of accounts for a model company and literally harmonize the data onto a common platform rather than having it in multiple source systems. So 3 priorities helped us enable the digital by 2023 vision. What are my takeaways? I think I want to just make sure that I land some takeaways to you. If we have to make this work, if this has to be implementable in a company like ours, step 1, my key takeaways, CEO has to be the digital transformation architect. It cannot be a backroom play. CEO sets the agenda. He sets the size, the scale, and the scope, and literally gives you a chance to talk about it every month, every week across to the SLT team. Second, as a structure, we said, IT and GBS can't be 2 different functions. Because if GBS has to be enabled with digital, IT and GBS have to come together. So what did we do? We created a function called CDO, the Central Digital Office, with GBS and IT, with a charter to converge IT and GBS to deliver the business outcomes. And the CDO head is not from technology, not from GBS, but from the business side. And the last one is the countries and regions are now responsible to drive the end-to-end experience. They drive the adoption, they drive the demand, they drive the end-to-end consumption of the stuff that is getting created in the center. Step 1. But was it an easy start? No way. It was never an easy start. And I know pretty much most of the companies, because before I started, I spoke to many companies. Almost every company have the same complexity. They have a front office, back office, and middle office. They don't talk to each other at all. Almost all the applications have their own databases. Almost all the applications are hosted on a different data center. And none of the data of a client or anything is harmonized at all. This is typical. And I think we have to embrace it. This is true. We have to embrace it because we built the past as well. Now we are building the future. But the reality is we have a broken system from systems, processes, and infrastructure. The key question is, how do we fix this? And how do we make sure that we are not taking this as a 5-year journey, but making it a very short journey and creating the impact? So what did we do here? Number 1, we said, if we have to really move on solving the client complexity to simplicity, step 1, step 2, and step 3, let me tell you, client centricity. Instead of going for applications and infrastructure, we absolutely said client centricity is your theme number 1. And if your theme number 1 is client centricity, how do you achieve that? Again, we created a domain data store. A domain data store where every single application can pump the data onto that. So now you have the end-to-end of a client. We've got 31 companies. All the 31 companies' revenues can be seen. All the 31 companies' products can be seen. Cost and everything else can be seen in one single picture. So number one, we shifted from a source data store to a domain data store for clients to make sure that we see the end-to-end. Second, I'll tell you, these users are the most difficult. When I sat with some of the users, they have a swell chair. For company number one, they have a graphic user, they have a screen. For company number two, they have a screen. Company number three, they have a screen. It was really painful. So what did we do again? Not going and changing all the applications. We rewrote the systems of engagement, making sure now it is pointing to this domain data store. So the user experience is completely transformed by making sure that we have a systems of engagement pointing to the new data store and not the legacy source systems. Third one, I think you know most of this, process mining and AI ops. Again, if you look at processes, even if I just call out one single process, we had 600 SOPs. Because there's 31 different companies. So get the process mining, understand the as-is process, standardize it, and drive the AI ops behind it. So what's my learning here? What's the takeaways? Some of the takeaways, probably some of you, if you're on this journey, it can help you accelerate the journey. Number one, executive team has to lead the prioritization. Executive team, we have to be hands-on to say, look, what is priority one, priority two, and priority three? Second, communicate the upside and the downside risk very clearly. Change management is a big aspect. Otherwise, you will get a lot of stones coming at you. Big one. Third, move from activities to an outcome. My team, our team, love to talk about number of transactions, accuracy of transactions, backlog. It's all good. It's required. But we are moving to a different world of outcomes. An outcome could be profit, growth, could be sales effectiveness, could be collection effectiveness, payable effectiveness, compliance, sustainability, a whole lot of things. We've defined about 10 different outcomes that we can get from this. Point number two. So where did we land with these two plans? Where did we land? We designed, built, and operationalized our GBS for 22 countries in less than 1 year. The playbook that I've shared with you is exactly the same playbook, repeated week after week, month after month, day after day. So really, if you go back and step back and say, look, for us it was all about speed and impact. Speed and impact. There's no point in saying we can do something fantastic like this and give a result in the next 3 years. The business will not wait. The business team needs to see the impact immediately. And that immediate could be 1 year, but not more than that. So really, what did we do? How did it help us? Most important, if we have to move to the next gen GBS, where you have to move from cost and efficiency to an outcome, there has to be a full convergence of IT and business ops. This is very important. Otherwise, you'll have two different priorities in the organization. IT driving their own priorities, GBS driving their own priorities. And I had two great leaders where we got them together, and almost every priority of GBS and IT is completely aligned. Next, partnership. Extremely important to get the right partnership. We had two great partners who gave us the great outcomes from day one. Literally working on outcomes with two partners. Next, data platform. We started reporting on outcomes almost like a draft outcome from the time we started seeing the countries getting onboarded. Rather than telling only about the volumes, we started reporting on some of the business outcomes, sales efficiency, and let's say TA, let's say talent acquisition efficiency, some of our DSO, DPO, capital rotation, a whole lot of things we started reporting straight away online because we had the data. So my key takeaway here, transformation office. It starts with that. With a single mind, get it done in 1 year. Get it done 1 year. Practice every day. 1 year, 1 year, 1 year happens. Second, we really need to make sure that we have people who can reimagine from activities to outcomes. And that was a very big effort that we as a company have invested in multiple activities, multiple programs, multiple sessions to make that happen. And the last one is, I think again, there's a fallacy saying we need to get 100% right. 80% is also a good answer. 80% is a good answer. Start with 80. Then we'll go to the 100 next. Okay? From good to better to best. Now, what's the innovation? 2 big innovations I'll talk to you. You all know this. Seeing the team here or seeing the audience here, we have lived this, and this is exactly what we have. Today, our structure is a hub and spoke structure. How is the IT building up this? A user talks to an application is sitting in a data center, and that data center has data sitting for the region of our country. Done. It's packaged extremely well. We built this infrastructure for the last 30 years. What did we do? We moved on. We said, look, that model is not going to help us. We created a digital core with cloud exchange architecture. We modernized our applications, tier 1 applications, to move to cloud. We modernize our data platforms to make sure that we have a master data and transaction data sitting in the center. And we ensured that we have operating model that can take this data and absolutely drive a new outcome-based model. So innovation number 1 is on the platform. We had to move from a hub and spoke model to a cloud exchange model. Innovation number 2, source. Okay, let me go through some steps here. Again, in this innovation, we've gone through a couple of steps, modernize our applications, absolutely make sure that we have the data as our core with AI engineering, because the engineering was focused on data as an asset, not application as an asset, not infrastructure as an asset. And the last one is to make sure that we have zero trust, because it's extremely important to secure our clients' data, our employee data, and our vendors' data. Zero trust is across the entire thing. Redesign, redesign, redesign. The engagement with our client, vendors, and employees. Reorganize and have new roles in the company. Digital engineering, client success manager, adoption manager. We put new roles into the company whose scope was much different than configuration and integration of systems. And last one, obviously creating a digital culture which is using data to drive the outcomes. The next innovation on procuring services with our 2 partners, we could have easily gone based on efforts, based on FTEs. No, we had a 3-step approach to drive the outcomes. Step 1, we're buying business process. Step 2, we are buying business performance. And step 3, we're buying business insights. And I'll show you in my next slide how we constructed the contract as well. But the beauty of this is now this helped us to capture the impact in 3 stages. Stage 1, savings and efficiency was captured in year 1. A significant savings and efficiency was captured in year 1 because the outcome was to make sure that our business process is efficiently driven to achieve a certain outcomes. Step 2, we are now into outcomes. We defined a couple of key KPIs for each of our functions, for sales, for finance, for talent, which is HR, and really making sure that they can start seeing the performance metrics. And the last one is the new sources of value. Could be sustainability, could be something more than that, but new sources of value. That's my 3rd step. I'm not yet there. What's the key message, or what are the key takeaways here? Data, data, data. Of course, standardization and automation. This is a great opportunity for us, being in this industry, to transform and make the shift from what we have seen historically to be the main room players. We can be the boardroom players. The moment you become from a back office to the front office and driving the impact on the business. Let me move on. So at the end, let me just make sure that I get you a summary of it. I think I'm not going into much details here. The way we constructed our procurement was based on certain success KPIs, be it on business process, be it on business performance, or based on some data and insights. And what it helped us, regions, the countries who are driving the adoption now clearly knows what they can consume on an end-to-end basis from a performance, from an end-to-end basis on an experience, and from an end-to-end basis on new demand. So the learning here, absolutely the takeaways for me that I can share with you. Again, I'm using the same language, move from efforts to performance. The business team will enjoy working with the GBS once we talk the language of performance. People and culture, it's not technology, it's not process that comes in the way, it's really people. So we need to work very closely with people to ensure that we have the transformation. And last one is to define clear business objectives. So in closing, clients don't pay us for the complexity. No client will pay you a premium for complexity. The GBS of tomorrow has to be the GBS of driving an outcome. And once we are sure about that, I think our path as we move into the next couple of years, helping business drive revenue growth, margin growth, reducing the cost, and of course, all the other parameters can be achieved. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dilip.
Thank you.
And congratulations on everything you've achieved. I've been told we've got time for one question, and I have chosen the question, I believe. Give me a second. It's not that. Here we go. How have you ensured consistent buy-in from stakeholders in regions and functions whilst transforming at pace?
No, I think this is the single biggest challenge that we had. So we have two partners working with us, Deloitte and McKinsey, driving the change management for us. This is not going to be an easy one. Consistently repeating the benefits, the outcomes, and the image that they can really get from the GBS.
Brilliant. Great, thank you so much. And I know Sandy Connor had one for you, so be sure to grab a drink with Sandy later, because very few people have their names up, but I did see yours, Sandy, so grab a drink later and ask Dilip in person. Dilip, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.